Well, Sony could unveil the next generation of video game consoles today. The company is expected to announce the PlayStation 4. This would be the first major overhaul of Sony's popular entertainment system in more than 6 years. So joining us now is Dan Ackerman, a senior editor for CNET. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning to you.
So I said we could be hearing about the PlayStation 4, but this whole thing is very clandestine. We're not sure what the big announcement's going to be.
Yeah, they haven't actually said the words PlayStation 4 or next generation PlayStation. They're just saying it's a big PlayStation event. They're trying to, I think, maybe drum up a little of that secretive kind of Apple buzz where Apple kind of doesn't tell you what they're going to tell you until you're sitting in the room.
Yeah, and there have been rumors flying fast and furious. What are some of the rumors about this?
Yeah, this is very definitely the next generation living room console. Maybe they'll call it the PlayStation 4, maybe something else. But in order to make it stand out from the last generation, which a lot of people still have and still think it's great, they got to do some new stuff. They might do a lot with cloud streaming of games where you won't actually need to go to the store and buy a disc. You can just stream the game directly online. And just like everyone plays games on their iPhones and their iPads now with touch, they may add a touch panel to the controller. So you're working in something that's very kind of hip and very modern, touch into a traditional kind of video game system.
That should be interesting. If you're somebody who already has a PlayStation, though, should you be concerned about compatibility? Could this be a major overhaul of the system and all your games don't work anymore?
Yeah, that's always a threat with every new generation of a console. Sometimes the old games will work, sometimes they won't. With this system, it seems like they're making it different enough that that's probably not a given. All your old PlayStation 3 discs may not work in this one. I certainly wouldn't bet any money on it.
We talked about the fact that this is very, very secretive, that really we're talking about rumors, suggestions, sources, kind of like the way Apple does its major unveiling. What gives here? Why do it like this?
Well, I think with a consumer technology product, everyone's so wrapped up in iPads and iPhones, you really need to break through in order to have some buzz with the consumer, especially if you're asking them to spend $300 to $500 on a new game console.
Right.
So I think you have to really build it up, and maybe you let a few selected leaks out deliberately to kind of build a little bit of buzz. Yeah. There's a lot of showmanship here.
Yeah, you talked about people playing on their iPads and on their smartphones and that sort of thing. How has that shifted this industry?
That's the big risk here, and I think that's the big risk Sony is taking, and also Nintendo and hopefully Microsoft later this year if they have a new game console. They're still working on this model from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where they just say, here's a new piece of hardware, go out and buy it. In the meantime, since the last version, we've all started playing games on Facebook, on iPads, on iPhones, and these are games that are $1, maybe $5. They still want you to go out and buy $60 box games at a store. I think the model may have changed in the meantime. It's going to be a real surprise to see kind of what happens here.
Yeah, I'm curious, if there is a cloud component, is that going to be enough to get people to come out? I mean, you can already, get movies on demand, you can already download all sorts of things, maybe not games as much, but is that going to be a draw,
in a way, we're training people to use the cloud. Netflix works really great as a streaming cloud service, Spotify for music. There have been a couple of companies that do that with games. They haven't been too big yet, but Sony bought one of those companies last year, one of the major players. So it does make a lot of sense they'd work it in. I think it's a way forward in the future. We may not all have the broadband at home that's really going to support that yet.
That's true.
So it may go 50-50 for a while, but I think in the future, there's not going to be any more of those little plastic discs in a box.
All right, Dan Ackerman, senior editor for CNET. Thanks for joining us. Can't wait to hear this announcement later on in the day.
Thank you.